All right, all right. Thank you so much for your patience. Thank you so much for being here this morning. My name is CJ Curry. This is the CJ Curry Show, and it's presented by PrizePicks. PrizePicks making daily fantasy easy. All you got to do, pick your favorite stars from your favorite sports. Choose more, choose less. Add 2, 3, 4, 5, and more recently, even 6 players to your entry to win up to 25 times your money. I've hit 3 of those 25x payouts. They're very hard. To go 6 for 6 is very difficult, but it can be done. I'm living proof. I've done it 3 times now. That 6 for 6 is entirely possible. So if you want to get started on playing Prize Picks today, all you got to do, use promo code Curry, your first deposit up to a $100 instant deposit match. I've left a link down in the description of today's video for you to go get signed up if you're not already playing. Shout out to everybody who's here this morning. We've got ourselves a fantastic Friday slate of NBA games. I believe it's an 11-game NBA slate, so lots of NBA action to talk about. On top of that, Prize Picks is running their Flex Friday promotion, which means basically your first entry up to $20 is risk-free. It is a protected pick up to $20. So you can risk up to $20 on your first entry. And if it fails, if it misses, if you go zero on it, they'll give you that $20 back in promo credits. Can't beat that, right? Your first entry of the day, you could turn $20 into a lot more money, right? Up to 25 times that if you wanted to go for it all. So pretty cool, Flex Friday. And on top of that, it's free entry Friday. If you're a Patreon member, if you're a member of my Discord, link to the Discord down in the description below. If you're not a member of the Discord, it's totally free for you to jump in there. I've got channels with bots set up to help you with player prop research. I've got news channels set up that's automatically pumping in all the latest news. I've got trends for the NBA, for NHL, for NFL that's pumping in there daily. So free to you. All you got to do, join the Discord, and then you can take things to the next level by joining Patreon. Patreon, it's a great time to join Patreon right now. It's just $20 a month. Helps support my content, lets you have access to a community of like-minded individuals who are on there doing their own research, sharing their findings, sharing their favorite picks, plays, entries of the day. So we're all coming together each day, and we're having a good time. We're helping each other win. So you can sign up for Patreon. Link for that is also down in the description below. But I see some of you folks already lined up here in the live chat. Appreciate you joining me. Make sure you're subscribed. Make sure that you've slapped that like button. And on top of that, you're going to want to make sure you leave a comment with your favorite pick once the replay of today's show goes live, because we've been giving away a free entry a day every day that I go live. So we're going to get to that. I see some of you folks asking, where do we go? How do we know about the free entry? Well, I'm going to start announcing them live on the show each and every day. So the previous show, the previous live stream that I do, we'll pick a winner on the next live show. So we're going to start doing that today, and I'll pick a winner right here. So those of you who are watching, maybe your name will get picked. Maybe those who aren't watching will miss out. Maybe I'll call their name. They won't watch this. They'll skip over it, and then they won't know that listen, it just pays to watch every single day, all right? Pays to participate, and that's what I want it to be. I want it to be a situation where you guys keep tuning in every day, keep, commenting, keep subscribing, keep liking. So we're going to get into that in just a moment. But let's run through the chat real quick, because we got a lot of folks saying what's up, and I want to make sure that I show you some love, all right? Starting with Mike from the Forest. He says, let's end the week strong, gang. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Yeah, we've been on a pretty good run since Sunday. A pretty darn good run. I think we're at like over 70% hit rate since Sunday. A very good hit rate in Patreon over the last few days. So definitely a good time to get in. Get in while we're hot, right? Trill Fate's in the building. He says, flex Friday. You flex at me. I'm going to flex back at you. Chris Raptor's in the building. I love my wife 007. Not even 007. My man went the extra mile, went 007. We're going to pick a winner right now, all right? And then you'll know if you won or not. But so far, no winner has been picked from our last live show. But we're going to do that together right here. You guys can kind of see how it works. It's a random program that I found that picks somebody from the comment section. So Neville's in the building. What's up to you, Neville? Trey says, happy Flex Friday. Back at you, bro. Happy Flex Friday. Emo says, what's up? Green Gang, what's up? Let's work on that Flex Friday. I hate anxiety. It says, Giannis is feasting today. All right, we're going to take a look at that. Roy's in the building. Shout out to Roy. We got Ripo, says, good morning, gang. Good morning, back at you. Outside with JM says, good morning, good afternoon, everyone. John says, Patreon is fire, made my $20 back and more on my first NFL Sunday using the Patreon and Discord. I definitely recommend it. Thank you, John. That means a lot. I'm glad that you were able to find some early success, quick success joining the Patreon. I'd like to remind everybody this is a long game, right? We get to do this every day if we play our cards right, if we manage our funds, manage our bankrolls appropriately, right? We could play this daily fantasy sports game called PrizePicks every day. All right. There's no reason why we can't, as long as we play our cards right. Tyrone McGrew says, good morning, CJ and crew. Let's get it. Shout out to you. Who else we got in here? I hate anxiety. I think we all do. I think we all hate anxiety. But thanks for tuning in anyway. Even if you can't play on PrizePicks, I think the information that we go over in these live streams is helpful no matter what site you play on. But yes, I do wish in my own selfish way that you were playing on PrizePicks. I wish we could all play on PrizePicks. So what's up? Finally joined and hit on my first day. That's Anthony Garces. You guys keep an eye on him. He's King Ant in our Discord, in our Patreon Discord. So shout out to you, King Ant. I appreciate you joining as well. Who else we got in here? Scott's in the building. Who you got playing? Strong with Harrow out. We're going to find out. We'll get into that. Kagan Hopkins says, good morning. Check out Trae Young first half PRA. Will do. Arnold says, hope we hit today. I want to go big. I feel that. Everyday Fantasy says, what it do, fam? I flex back. Chris Raptor says, I hit 6 for 6 with help from his Discord and Patreon. I love to hear that. That's a 25x payout from my man, Mr. Raptor there. 4 for 4 yesterday from Flex Screens. And Jose says, good morning, CJ. Let's eat. Let's eat. Bradley Reed, shout out to you. All right, let's go ahead and pick a winner from the last video. You guys know that I've been giving out these free entries on every live stream. Every show that I do, I'm giving away a free entry. So what that is basically your opportunity to get your hands on a 2-pick, a risk-free 2-pick power play. You get both of the picks right, you win $100. So I've been giving out one every time I go live. So let's go ahead. Let's pick our winner from the last live show, the last live stream, because I know some of you are wondering, who won? Well, let's go see who won right now. Let's get to the bottom of this, all right? So I found this handy little program. It's called commentpicker.com, all right? They got comment pickers for every social media site out there, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, Twitter, you name it. It does it all right? So we've entered the URL in. The URL from our last live stream. We've got a total of 18 comments, right? And we're going to start the raffle and pick a random winner now. So let's see who that random winner is. It is Carly Banks. Carly Banks is the winner of the day. I don't know if Carly's watching right now, but Carly, if you're watching live or if you're catching the replay, you have won a risk-free 2-pick power play to score $100 on PrizePicks. What you need to do now, you need to either DM me on Twitter at Curry the Creator, or you can DM me in our Discord. Link for the Discord's down in the description below. My name's CJ Curry in there. I am the administrator, if you want to call it that, of the Discord. But yes, your comment was picked. So if you know Carly Banks, if you've seen Carly Banks around the block, around the streets, tell Carly Banks that a 2-pick entry is waiting for Mr. or Mrs. Carly Banks, all right? Appreciate it. Thank you for commenting, and we're going to pick a new winner on the next time I go live. So we'll pick a winner from today's live stream in the next video that I do. So we'll start doing these live so you guys can kind of see how the selection process works. Totally randomized. You saw it for yourselves. Carly Banks is the winner. More winners to come, more free entries to be given away daily. All right, let's get into Poeltl today. Let's figure out who today's mystery player is. How do we play Poeltl? Well, it's a mystery. It's a mystery player guessing game. We're trying to figure out who the mystery player of the day is. You get 8 guesses. You could try any current NBA player. Green in the column means an exact match. Yellow in the column means that this player at one point or another played for this team but does not currently play for the team. And if you get yellow in the position column, it's a partial match to the player's position. So you'll see sometimes it'll say C-F, center/forward. All right, it could be a center or a forward. Yellow in any other column indicates that this player is within 2. It could be 2 digits in the age, 2 digits in the jersey number, 2 digits in their height, right? It's a partial match. And if we get stuck, we get a silhouette to help us along the way. So we got 2 players on today's thumbnail. I'm going to go ahead and choose DeJounte Murray as our first guess. And I can tell you this, guys, it was not a good first guess because this player is definitely, absolutely, without question, not DeJounte Murray. But But we now know that this player doesn't play for the Hawks, not in the Eastern Conference, not in the Southeastern Division, is not a guard, somebody who's taller than 6'5", older than 26 years of age, and the jersey number is going to be one that is higher than 5. So we did not get a partial or an exact match on any or in any of these categories. So we got to go out west. We know that. And I'm thinking maybe this is going to be more of a veteran forward, veteran, big man, center. All right. But it's definitely not DeJounte Murray. So who could it be? Well, it could be just about anybody at this point, right? Anybody at this point. Let's go to his former team. I'm going to just throw a name out there. I'm going to throw Jakob Poeltl out there. Jakob Poeltl, the man who's got his own guessing game. Former San Antonio Spur DeJounte Murray. I went back to his team, San Antonio, because we needed a Western team. We needed a big dude. And in this case, Jakob Poeltl fits both of those bills. He plays out west. But I can tell you this player is not a San Antonio Spur, not in the Southwest, but does play center. 7'1", though, too tall. So somewhere between 6'5" and 7'1". We might be looking at a small forward, power forward type of player, or an undersized center. It is going to be a center. I take that back. It is definitely going to be a center. Somebody older than 27, so we're talking about a veteran player, and the jersey number's got to be below number 25. Not in the Southwest Division. Brandon San Anthony Davis. I'm going to tell you this. I know who this is, I think. I think I recognize that head. I got a pretty good idea, that silhouette, who that silhouette belongs to. Those shoulders, how they slant, slope down like that. I think I know who this is. And it's not Anthony Davis. And it is not Draymond Green. And it is not Yusuf Nurkic. No. Not LeBron James either. I think I know who this is. Al Horford? No, not Al Horford. Al Horford's in the East, so we know it's not Al Horford. Trey Kinlow. Me and you, Trey. It's me and you, buddy. I think we're on the same wavelength. I think it's former Charlotte Hornet, former Orlando Magic, I think he was with the Toronto Raptors, center, double B. All right. Backing up my man DeAndre Ayton. I'm going to guess DeAndre Ayton just to see. Yeah, okay. It is who I think it is. And I think it is who Trey also thinks it is. I think this is Bismack Biyombo. Guys, let's go ahead and guess Bismack Biyombo. Bang. I knew it. Trey, good guess, my friend. You know your NBA silhouettes, obviously. It is definitely Bismack Biyombo. We solved that in 4 guesses. Really, officially, we could have gotten it in 3. As soon as I saw that silhouette, I knew it was my man Bismack Biyombo. Shout out to Bismack Biyombo. Phoenix Suns backup center, playing in the Western Conference Pacific Division center. He's 6'8". He is kind of an undersized center at 6'8". So we could have been led astray or deceived by that height. But luckily for us, we guessed the center position, and that ended up being a green match. My man Biyombo, 30 years old, and he's rocking jersey number 18. Talking about age, guys, I got a birthday coming up tomorrow. Your boy's going to be, how do you think I am? I ain't going to say. Give me your guesses. How do you think I'm turning tomorrow? Let me know. Hey, don't be too hard on me, all right? I ain't that old, but let me know what you think my birthday is tomorrow. How many years old am I going to be? Ooh, I love it. Yes. The 33, the 31, the 35, the 36, making me feel young out here. Y'all making me feel young out here. 32, 21, 42. Hayes, you're out of pocket for that, bro. 42? Yo, Hayes, that's out of pocket, out of line, my friend. I ain't no 42. Steven, tripping, 42. Nah, appreciate everybody, though, man. 40, we got outside. Man, y'all put me in the 40s. Y'all need to stop. Get me out of them 40s. Hey, I'm going to see who got the first guess right. Let me look. Hey, I think it was Wesley, man. I think Wesley Winston got the first guess right. 37. Your boy's turning 37 tomorrow. That's right, I'm an 85er. So tomorrow, I'm going to go from 36 to 37. Shout out to Wesley Winston, longtime supporter. Hey, Wes, you got it right, brother. But yeah, I got a few grays in there too, Derek. I feel you on them grays, brother. I've been plucking. All right. I see one of them grays. Them grays have to get yanked out. I have to yank them grays out. But yeah, the exact answer was Wesley Winston. 37 years of age tomorrow. So happy birthday to me, gang. Hopefully I put us on some winners tonight. Let's start getting into today's NBA slate. Got a pretty good slate tonight. I think it's like 11 games, I want to say, starting with one game. We only got one game at a 7 o'clock tip-off. The rest of them start at 7:30. So I guess you could call this Washington-Charlotte game the early game of the slate. But Washington is at the Charlotte Hornets. No Rui Hachimura or DeLon Wright for the Washington Wizards. They're going to be taking on Charlotte. Charlotte's going to be without LaMelo Ball, without Gordon Hayward, without Martin and Smith. These guys have all sat out in recent games. Listen, 224-point total. There's already one guy that I'm already thinking about. All right. And if you know, you know. He's on the Charlotte Hornets side. But it's a 3-point spread, 224-point total. So that should be a pretty fun little game. Pick out a couple props from that one. 7:30 tip-off. Denver Nuggets at the Atlanta Hawks. Yes, I featured DeJounte Murray. I featured Trae Young as our thumbnail players of the game. 233 points, big total. That's why these guys were featured on the thumbnail, because we got a high total game at 233. We got a close spread at 2.5. Hopefully this is going to be one of the more exciting games of the night. Keep an eye on Jamal Murray. It looks like he's closer to playing than sitting out. He is currently a game time decision, but my man is his status is up in the air. Jamal Murray has been balling. I don't know if you guys have taken his first half points or PRA the last couple of games, last few games really, but he's been somebody to definitely target. On the Atlanta side, lots of names here. All right, we got Hunter and Collins, both two players who are typically in the starting lineup out tonight for Atlanta. So that's pretty big news. Both Hunter and Collins out tonight for the Hawks. We might be without Clint Capella as well. He is currently listed as a game time decision. So keep an eye on the big fella, Clint Capella. So it really might be Trae Young, DeJounte Murray sort of just carrying the Atlanta Hawks tonight against the Denver Nuggets. But that one's got a nice total. And I think it's going to be a game that we could definitely target some plays from. Miami at Boston also tips off at 7:30. Guys, the list of names for this Miami Heat roster daily is crazy. But what I will point out is that next to a lot of these names, we're starting to see these little green ticks, meaning these guys are expected to play tonight. Closer to probably playing than doubtfully playing, right? Jimmy Butler, big one. Tyler Herro, a big one. Duncan Robinson, Max Strus, Gabe Vincent, all green. So it looks like even though they're on the injury report, even though that they're listed as a game time decision, that those guys will play. However, I will advise that you should probably wait for the news to come out before touching any props, all right? But Miami is taking on Boston tonight. It's a 226-point total, 7.5-point spread. It looks like Boston's going to have sort of their same complement of players, so nothing really crazy to report from the Boston Celtics. Orlando at Cleveland also tip it off at 7:30. We've got Jonathan Isaac. Say it ain't so. Jonathan Isaac might make his season debut tonight. Let me click in on this real quick. Now, as of November 7th, the last report we had said that Jonathan Isaac said that he feels closer than he's ever been to returning to game action since his last NBA appearance. This was almost a month ago, though, but it looks like Jonathan Isaac might make his debut for the Orlando Magic. We haven't seen that guy in a long time. I think since the bubble, right? It's been a long time since we've seen Jonathan Isaac out on the NBA court. Anyway, we just had Markelle Fultz return for the Orlando Magic. So if Isaac plays, Fultz looks like he's in. Cole Anthony returned to the lineup in the rotation for the Orlando Magic. Mo Bamba, game time decision. Wendell Carter Jr. is out. Gary Harris Jr. is out. Chuma Okeke is out. Jalen Suggs is out. So going to be interesting to see how Jonathan Isaac works himself back into this rotation now. We got Bol in there. We have obviously drafted Paolo Banchero. I mean, again, I think I've said this in the past. I'd probably stay away from the Orlando Magic. Just stay away from them. There's too many moving parts, too many quality players, too many question marks on this team. Who's going to play? Who's going to get the minutes? Now you're adding another wild card into the mix with Jonathan Isaac making his return. So they're taking on the 14-8 Cleveland Cavaliers. It looks like Kevin Love is going to be a game time decision. He's missed the last couple of games. Jared Allen missed the last couple of games. He is officially ruled out, so he's not going to be in there for Cleveland tonight. So it'll be Evan Mobley manning the middle once again for the Cavs. Low total game here, 216.5. It's a 10.5 point spread. They think the Cleveland Cavaliers, they being Vegas, thinks the Cleveland Cavaliers will blow out the Orlando Magic. The Los Angeles Lakers at the Milwaukee Bucks. Big total on this one, 230 points, 8.5 point spread though. Milwaukee could very well blow out the Los Angeles Lakers. Big news from this one is Chris Middleton. Chris Middleton is listed as a game time decision, but he is listed as also being officially probable to play tonight. We will see the season debut, from what it sounds like, of Chris Middleton for the Milwaukee Bucks tonight. I know that they are ready to get their all-star wing back, right? Chris Middleton, a big piece of the Milwaukee Bucks, and that'll be exciting to get Chris Middleton back out there. So Middleton's expected to be back out there tonight for the 15-5 Milwaukee Bucks, taking on the likes of LeBron James, Anthony Davis, and Russell Westbrook. Now, some rumors are starting to come out that the Los Angeles Lakers might be putting together a package featuring Patrick Beverley, and I think they said Lonnie Walker, or possibly Dennis Schroeder. They're looking to make some moves here, and it sounds like Pat Bev might be included in that deal. Anyway, just some interesting news going around the NBA, but Giannis Antetokounmpo, Chris Middleton versus LeBron James, Anthony Davis. I mean, fireworks, potentially fireworks, but I think Milwaukee ends up winning that one. 7:30, Toronto versus Brooklyn. Another fine game here between two of the better teams in the East. 223.5 point total, 1.5 point spread as far as injury news goes. Ben Simmons is the most noteworthy piece of injury news. He's out for Brooklyn once again. He sat out for the Brooklyn Nets in the last game. So, Nick Claxton, Kevin Durant, Royce O'Neal, Joe Harris, Kyrie Irving going to hold down the fort. Definitely going to hold things down for Brooklyn. So that'll be a fun game. Decent total. Should stay close and competitive according to the Vegas spread. 8 o'clock brings us the New Orleans Pelicans at the San Antonio Spurs. Brandon Ingram is out. CJ McCollum looks like he's going to play tonight. He's been out the last couple of games, I want to say. Maybe he played in the last one, but he's missed some games recently nonetheless. As far as the San Antonio Spurs, no Jakob Poeltl. He is out tonight. No Jeremy Sochan. Josh Richardson, a game-time decision. Doug McDermott, a game-time decision. Those guys look like they're closer to doubtful than probable tonight. So it's going to be a lot of Devin Vassell. A lot of Keldon Johnson holding down the fort. Some Trey Jones in there. All right. But a big total, 232, 7.5 point spread. Philly at Memphis. This one's got a low total, just 217 between these two teams, 5.5 point spread. As far as injury news goes, still no Desmond Bane for the Memphis Grizzlies. He's still out. No Danny Green. I don't think we've seen Danny Green yet. Tobias Harris, a game time decision. James Harden, Tyrese Maxey still out for Philadelphia. So if Tobias Harris sits out, that's really going to open things up for Shake Milton and DeAnthony Melton. Somebody's going to have to step up and help out the big fella, Joel Embiid. But this looks like a low and slow type of game, right? Slow pace type of game. Houston and Phoenix at 9 o'clock. Chris Paul. Do we want to talk about Chris Paul? Guys, I don't know if you've woke up having a good day, but if you're Chris Paul, I'm sure you don't like having your name caught up with the likes of Kanye West and Kim Kardashian. Poor Chris Paul, right? Happily married man from what we know. Getting his name put out there that Kanye caught him with Kim Kardashian at one point. I don't know when that supposedly happened, but damn, Chris Paul. Say it ain't so. Say it ain't so. 228.5 point total here. It's an 11.5 point spread. The Phoenix Suns expected to blow out the Houston Rockets. You might want to play first half only picks. If you're going to play anything from this game, maybe first half only is the way to go. But yeah, tough times for Chris Paul. Not only is he hurt, not being able to do what he loves to do, play basketball, but now, got baby mama drama. Hope it ain't true, Chris. 9 o'clock, Indiana Pacers at the Utah Jazz. Another fun game here, 238 point total with a 4.5 point spread. Very high total game, but we got some very impactful injury news here. Tyrese Halliburton is a game time decision. We're not sure if Hallie's going to play or not. Hopefully he does play because he would be in a pretty good spot here against the Utah Jazz, who are going to be without Mike Conley Jr. once again. So it'll be Jordan Clarkson and Colin Sexton holding down things in that backcourt for Utah. Lauri Markkanen, Jared Vanderbilt, Kelly Olynyk locking up the front court. Very nice total on that one. That should provide plenty of good props. And then finally, the last game of the night, Chicago Bulls, Golden State Warriors, 236.5 points. Golden State, 7.5 point favorite. Nothing real crazy as far as injury news. Both of these teams looking mighty fine, mighty healthy here. Full complement, full roster of players. But this one could get a little ugly here. Golden State 7.5 point favorite could be a potential blowout. All right, so that's the lay of the land. That's what we know what's going on here. That's what's happening around the association. Let's go ahead and split these out. Let's take a look and see what we got going on PrizePicks. Again, shout out to PrizePicks for sponsoring today's live stream and show. If you're not playing on PrizePicks, promo code Curry, 100% instant deposit match all day long, every day. Link down in the description to get started on PrizePicks. So what are we liking today, gang? Talk to me. What do we like from today's games? Well, I know we're going to quickly go over this like we did before. I know there's some good spots out here. One of the ones that I told you that I like from this Charlotte and Washington game, they don't have this on the board yet. They do not have this on the board yet. Wonder why? I wonder why. They've only got one Charlotte Hornet on the board. The guy that I'm looking for, I don't think he's on here at all. Kelly Oubre. I demand we get Kelly Oubre first half points on the board. You scaredy cat suckers over at PrizePicks. No, I'm just playing. But once, hopefully, that they do add Kelly Oubre first half points to the board. And if it's at 9.5, 10.5, I'm in on either one of those. Let's look at these real quick. Without Gordon Hayward, this prop shines, right? This really shines. It turns into a really good play. But yeah, if we get Kelly Oubre at like 9.5 points, jump on it. All right, he's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 10 for 10 in games without Gordon Hayward. And he's taken on his former team, the Washington Wizards. He dropped 13 already against Washington without Hayward earlier in the season. So even if it's at 10.5 points, I think I like Kelly Oubre for some first half points at 9.5 or 10.5. Either way, he gets it done though. All right. So that's one to kind of keep your eye on. Obviously, we don't have it up on the board yet. They are keeping Kelly Oubre far away from us. They know Oubre's in a revenge game. We've got his 15.5 fantasy score. Let's just take a look at that since we do have that. We could go first half FanDuel points logs this season without Gordon Hayward. All right, there's a reason why we're getting this one and we ain't getting the pure points on their own because this one doesn't hit quite like just the points do on their own. But let's look at it anyway because it's still pretty good at 15.5. He's hit this in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 straight games without Gordon Hayward. 7 straight games without Gordon Hayward. He has gone over 15.5 first half fantasy points. And he's hit an 8 out of 10. 80% hit rate. I'm still all right with that. I'm still okay with Kelly Oubre over 15.5 first half fantasy score at an 8 out of 10 hit rate, 80% hit rate. All right, but I will mention this. He played Washington. He only had 13.2 first half fantasy against the Wizards. So I would say wait and see about the points. If we get the points, that's my number one option. 10 for 10 is Kelly Oubre on 9.5 points. Even at 10.5 points, I still feel all right about that. That's probably why we ain't getting that one right now, all right? But I like this. This is good looks, all right? If we get Kelly Oubre's points, though, for the first half, I'm in there like freaking swimwear, gang, all right? What else are we liking? Let's go through the rest of the board here. Hey, JY2234, appreciate you. He says, happy birthday, brother. Posted a 6-pick first half slip in Patreon. Let me know what you think. I will absolutely do that. I'll hop over to the Discord after the show. Thank you for the birthday wishes. Thank you for the super chat. Guys, the super chats go a long way to help supporting the content. Appreciate you, gang. Thank you, JY. Love all the support. All right, so I think Kelly Oubre in a revenge scenario, revenge type of setting against the Washington Wizards could be a good look. But as you can see, limited Kelly Oubre props for us right now. But he has done really well without Gordon Hayward in the lineup, so keep your eyes peeled. Another guy that's done really well here in first half only situations, we talked about him in our last show, Pascal Siakam. Pascal Siakam at 11.5 points. We prefer Pascal Siakam at 10.5 points because he's hitting pretty much every game but one this season. But we can rock with Pascal Siakam at 11.5. I think it's still doable, especially given the matchup. Let's just look at this real quick. First half points logs this season. We want to see how many games Pascal Siakam has gone over 11.5. And it's a pretty good hit rate. Pretty good hit rate. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 out of 11. 8 out of 11's not bad at all. Guys, I want to remind you what he did against Brooklyn when they played each other for the first time this season, because they've already met. Back on October 21st, my guy Siakam, 18 first half points against the Brooklyn Nets back on October 21st. So another guy hitting his first half points at a very high rate. You got Pascal Siakam, 11.5. What do we think about the PRA? Because we could go a couple different ways here for first half only. Some of these guys hit better in the first half than they do for full game. So you guys may be wondering, why is he so hooked on these first half props? Because there is an edge to be found sometimes when you go first half only versus full game. You can also avoid games that look like blowouts, right? We don't want to take the overs on a team where they blow another team out and by the fourth quarter, none of the starters are out on the floor. So first half, don't sleep on it. If you're not playing first half yet, you should be looking more at first half. Anyway, we're going to look at the Pascal Siakam first half PRA at 17.5, right? How many times has he hit this? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 out of 11. So he's 8 out of 11 on the PRA first half. Very good hit rates. Very good hit rates. And then we also got Pascal Siakam's fantasy score at 21.5. Just a reminder, he had 30 first half PRA versus Brooklyn the first time that they met. Just want to throw that out there. Let's also look at the FanDuel or fantasy points in this case. First half FanDuel points logs this season for Pascal Siakam. He's at 21.5. He has hit this in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 out of 11. Pretty darn good hit rate. So you got 9 out of 11 on the fantasy score, 8 out of 11 on the PRA, and then what did we say on the points? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 out of 11 on the points. So out of these three, the one that's hitting at the highest rate is this one. His fantasy score at 21.5. And the last time he played Brooklyn, he ended up with 32.6 first half fantasy score. Absolutely smoked this 21.5. So here's another one to put on your short list. Kelly Oubre points, if and when we get them. Pascal Siakam fantasy score more than 21.5. So I think both of those are very good looks to start your day off. Jesse's coming through with the super chat. Appreciate you, Jesse. Guys, if you have any like must have an answer style questions, if there's something that you got to know, pressing matters, pressing issues, super chat, it'll highlight your comment just like it did for JY, just like it's doing for Jesse here. And it helps support the show too. So appreciate that, Jesse. Thank you so much. He's asking, what about Evan Mobley's first half PRA? All right, good looks, Jesse. Let's take a look at it. We'll look at it together. So far, we got Siakam for more than 21.5 fantasy score, but you could go points, you could go PRA on Siakam if you prefer. I think there's not really a bad way to play Siakam today in this matchup. But Evan Mobley, 14.5 first half PRA. I see a couple of you guys. Denham Banks is talking about it. Jesse's talking about it. Okay. when we pop these game logs open, we can see that for the last 3 games, Mr. Evan Mobley here at 14.5 PRA has hit in each of the last 3 games. So that looks like a good look. What about the points? Those are also 3 for his last 3. What about his fantasy score? Not so good. 18-4. So he's hit this in 3 out of his last 4. Now he does have some shot blocking upside, right? Kind of like a guy like Jaren Jackson, or like a Miles Turner, or like a Pascal Siakam, a guy who could get some blocks, get some steals for you. Evan Mobley's that dude. But as far as last 3 games, he's 3 for 3 on both the points and the PRA. Let's take a look at something real quick. Let's go Evan Mobley. Again, we're using StatMuse to kind of help us with this. StatMuse totally free. This doesn't cost you any money to go on here and do some search queries on your own. We're going to go first half points plus rebounds plus assists logs this season, right? Punch that in there. Let's see what happens. He's at 14.5 PRA. How many times has he gone over? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 9. Doesn't look like a whole lot, but I think where this gets a little sweeter is when we take Jarrett Allen out. So we'll go without Jarrett Allen. All right. So this season without Jarrett Allen, my guy is 4 for 5. 80%. 4 for 5 without Jarrett Allen, hitting this first half PRA of 14.5. 25 in his last game. 21, 19, 15. So he's hitting 4 straight games in which Allen has sat out. So what happened in that one game where he had just 11 first half PRA? Well, I would say that a lot of that probably has to do with the fact that he only shot the ball 4 times and went 1 for 4 from the field from the looks of it. Plus he had 2 first half personal fouls against the Minnesota Timberwolves. So he picked up 2 first half fouls, probably kind of hurt his aggressiveness, and he just wasn't shooting like he has been in some of these other games. 10 shots, 6 shots, 9 and 10 field goal attempts, right? So that was a low of 4 field goal attempts. But yeah, in the next 4 games that he's played without Jarrett Allen, gets some pretty steep competition here. Milwaukee Bucks, he got it done. Toronto Raptors, he got it done against them. Philadelphia with Joel Embiid, got it done against them. So he's been shining a little bit without Jarrett Allen. Now, my only question and only concern, my only pushback on this prop without pushing back too hard would be Kevin Love. Currently a game time decision. Do we care if Kevin Love is in or out? Do we think Kevin Love's presence potentially as a starter or coming off the bench, does that impact Evan Mobley in a big way? That would be my only little bit of pushback. Let's look at this. We can go games without Kevin Love and Jarrett Allen. So what we'll do, we'll take a little screenshot right here of these games without Jarrett Allen. All right, so we got that. And then we'll do games without Kevin Love. And he's played in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 games without Kevin Love. He's hit the over on his PRA in 1, 2, 3, 4 out of 6. So how many of those games were games where both Allen and Love were out? That's kind of what I'm getting at here, what I want to look at. So 11:30, they were both out. 11:28, they were both out. 11:27, they were both out. The 16th and the 13th, only Allen was out. Kevin Love was in. All right. So technically, with both Jarrett Allen and Kevin Love out, he's 3 for 3 this season. 19, 21, and 25 PRA. With Jarrett Allen out, Kevin Love in, 11 PRA and 15 PRA. So he's 1 for 2. So Kevin Love's presence might shake things up a little bit. So against the Minnesota Timberwolves, Kevin Love played. Against the Milwaukee Bucks, Kevin Love played. So he's 1 for 2 without Allen, but with Kevin Love. All of these games here, all the rest of these games, these were games where Kevin Love was out. but Jared Allen could have been in for some of those. So 11, 27, 11, 28, 11, 30. So I feel more confident to summarize for you guys who may have gotten lost. To summarize for you, I like this more if Kevin Love is ruled out. Currently, Kevin Love's status is up in the air. We don't know if he's in or out. We don't know if he's playing or sitting. So I just want to make that point, all right? Kevin Love's presence could potentially impact things on Evan Mobley today. But I see what you're seeing. 3 for his last 3 is nothing to bat an eye at, right? It looks good. It looks good. But for me, I'm going to wait on the Kevin Love news. Out of the two, which one would I rather take? I would rather take the PRA because it looks like it's got the higher hit rate. 4 out of 6 for Kevin Love, and he's 1, 2, 3, 4 out of 5 without Jarrett Allen. He's also 4. No. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, he's 4 out of 5 on the points and 4 out of 5 on the PRA without Jarrett Allen. So flip a coin. All right, they both look good. Both of these look good. It's the Orlando Magic. I don't think Mo Bamba's probably going to play, but we'll have to wait and see on him. We know Wendell Carter Jr. is already out. It'll be Bol, Paolo Banchero. Who else might he face? Jonathan Isaac is supposed to be coming back tonight. So they've been playing Mo Wagner a little bit in the center rotation for Orlando. So those are the types of guys, types of matchups that Evan Mobley will be facing tonight. And we're not really worried about any of those names a whole lot. But taking a look here over the last 7 games, we'll go with a more recent sample size. You see the Orlando Magic, they're giving up over about 23 points per game, so about 24 points. Talking about 17 rebounds on top of that, so that's 41 already at 41 points and rebounds. And then you sprinkle in 3 assists on top of that, you're looking at 44. So you kind of take that 44, you chop it in half, right? Because there's 2 halves in the game of basketball. And they're giving up about 22 PRA to centers, which is where Evan Mobley will be playing tonight, the center position without Jarrett Allen. About 22 PRA per half to opposing centers in the last 7 games. So my man needs 15. They're giving up about 22. I think there's a lot of upside, a lot of ceiling in this matchup. So don't mind Evan Mobley here. We'll call it shits and giggles. We'll take the over on his PRA at 14.5, being that Orlando's given up about 17 boards per game, which is the fifth most rebounds allowed to centers over the last 7 games. And they could be dealing with some injuries. So stay on top of the news. I guess to summarize this, stay on top of the news. If Kevin Love is out, love this play. I don't mind it at all. Stay on top of the Orlando Magic news. Mo Bamba's out. I think I like this even more for Evan Mobley. But yeah, I think that goes really well with this other first half pick of Pascal Siakam. So there you go, Jesse. That's the rundown, my friend. Hopefully that looks good. Wow. Couple of huge super chats just came through. Everyday Fantasy, my guy. Wow. $49.99, $50 super chat from Everyday Fantasy, a.k.a. my man Don P. If you guys are in Patreon, if you're in Discord, you know this man is Don P. 111. He says, happy birthday, my brother. Let this be a small token of gratitude. I'll fill that in for you. Of gratitude and appreciation for what you do. I know what you mean. He's liking some PJ Washington for over 1.5 turnovers. First of all, my man, I appreciate you. That's huge. I never get on here expecting anything that you guys want to give or do, to support, whether that be through the Patreon at $20 a month, whether that be a, $1.99 super chat, a $49.99 super chat. I just want to say thank you, bro, from the bottom of my heart. When I got into this, started making videos, started making content on YouTube, I did not expect to get things like this thrown my way. All right. And it does not go unnoticed. It does not get taken lightly either. So I just want to say thank you, man. Appreciate you. You've been rocking with the community for a long time. And man, that's huge. I'm going to definitely put that towards something nice for my birthday. Thank you so much, man. So let's look into his pick. All right. PJ Washington, he's liking him for 1.5 turnovers. I don't play a lot of turnover props because of the randomness, the volatility, the unpredictable nature of a turnover. But when my man Don P, Everyday Fantasy, says something, I've learned to start listening, right? Because usually if he's on something, there's a reason why he's on something. And what I mean by on something is obviously on a pick or a play. And in this case, he is on this pick, this play, PJ Washington at 1.5 turnovers. And I'm seeing 5 for 5 when I open up his last 5 games, guys. I'm seeing 5 for 5 here. 3 turnovers against Boston, 2 against Minnesota, 2 against Philly, 3 against Washington, which is tonight's opponent, the Washington Wizards, and 2 against Cleveland. But we want a bigger sample size. Let's see if props.cash can help us out with that. Props.cash, in case you are unaware, my favorite site for doing player prop research, especially full game player prop research. I've been told that first half and second half, as well as first, second, third, and fourth quarter player prop research information is coming soon to props.cash, which makes for a great time for you to get signed up and start using props.cash, right? So if you're not a props.cash user yet, promo code Curry gets you a 25% discount off your first month of props.cash. I've left a link down in the description of today's video for you to check it out. So let's go take a look at this Washington-Charlotte game. It's our only 7 o'clock tip-off game. All the other games, 7:30 p.m. Eastern time or later. But my man, Mr. Dom P here, with his most generous, most gracious super chat says, we got to look at PJ Washington for 2 or more turnovers. So let's look at it. This season, PJ Washington, 13 for 21, 62% hit rate games in which he's turned the ball over at least twice. He's done that 13 times. Now, one thing that we could do to take this a step further, we know that the Charlotte Hornets are going to be rather short-handed. No Gordon Hayward, no LaMelo Ball, no Smith, no Martin. So they're going to be missing some key components. So we could look at some things like hit rates with LaMelo Ball off of the floor, right? When you take LaMelo Ball out of the mix and you look at this season, well, PJ Washington's hit rate goes up. He's turned it over in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 out of 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. 13 out of 18 this season without LaMelo Ball. Now, what if we take LaMelo Ball and Gordon Hayward out, right? Take both of those guys off the floor because they're both going to be out. They're both impact players on the Charlotte Hornets team. And then you've got a 5 for 7 hit rate here for PJ Washington, including a 4-game streak in which he's turned the ball over 2 or more times. So why is it important that we take LaMelo Ball and Gordon Hayward out? Well, those two guys are primary ball handlers, high usage guys, right? So when you take those two out of the equation, out of the mix, well, now Charlotte's going to have somebody else step up and absorb that usage, absorb that ball handling. And obviously Terry Rozier's name comes front and center to mind. But on top of that, we've got Kelly Oubre, we've got PJ Washington. Those are like your 3 core guys that you trust. When Gordon Hayward's out, LaMelo Ball's out, these 3 guys kind of rise, right? Their usage rises. Their playmaking, passing, all rises. So now you're taking a look at the hit rates. All of a sudden, it's 5 for 7, a 71% hit rate for PJ Washington in the turnover category with LaMelo Ball and Gordon Hayward out. That's 2 turnovers on average per game, which is exactly what he needs to hit the over. 2.4 on average in his last 5 games. And against the Washington Wizards, it looks like he's turned it over once, but that can't be true, right? Well, no, he's played 1 game against Washington without Hayward and without Ball. But he had another game against Washington where he already turned it over, what did we say, 2 times recently? Yeah, 3 times. So against Washington this season, this was from last season on the left-hand side. He's got 2 games against Washington, turned it over 1 time against them. That was without Hayward and Ball. So that's kind of weird. But in the most recent matchup against Washington, had 3 turnovers. All right, so he's 1 for 2 against the Wizards. Going down here, looking at the defense, Washington Wizards defense, they rank number 1 in turnovers allowed. Now, I don't know how to interpret that. Turnovers allowed. Does this mean that they're not giving up a lot of turnovers or that they're forcing a lot of turnovers? That number 1 rank. Kind of confusing, right? At any rate, they're giving up about or allowing about 13 turnovers per game to opposing teams. I'll get some clarification on that, but 13 turnovers per game, this guy needs 2. And we can look at this from a positional standpoint as well. PJ Washington is going to be the power forward, we'll say. So we could go take a look at the turnovers given up by Washington in the last 7 games. They're giving up about 2.7 or forcing about 2.7, close to 3 turnovers per game to power forwards. In comparison, looking at the season averages, how many turnovers they allow for the season, we go down and we find Washington. They are sitting at about 2.5. So they're actually allowing more turnovers or forcing more turnovers to power forwards in the last 7 games than they are for the season. So that's a good sign, especially if we're wanting to take an over on a guy like PJ Washington. So there you go. I don't have any projections, I don't think, for turnovers. Let me just go double check here. Yeah. No, I don't think I have any PJ Washington turnovers. PJ Washington. No turnover projections for PJ Washington, unfortunately. But according to PropStatCash, it looks like he is sitting at a -135 betting favorite to stay under 1.5 turnovers tonight. So sounds like the betting public's not really rocking with PJ Washington's turnovers a whole lot. Although I will say it seems like he has been turning it over more often without Ball and without Hayward in the lineup. So again, man, I can't say it enough. Thank you so much. I appreciate that super chat. Definitely did not get on here expecting that today. Big time thanks. Speaking of super chats, we got Bearded Gator. He left one too, just saying happy birthday. I appreciate that, man. Happy birthday back to you whenever your birthday is. I'm not sure when that is, but whenever it is, happy birthday. I appreciate it. We got another super chat here coming through from our man Anthony. He says happy birthday as well. He's talking about some DeAndre Ayton for more or over rebounds. He's liking Colin Sexton for over or more on his assists as well. All right. Got a 2-for-1 combo here. Let's look at him. Now, I think the last time we talked about DeAndre Ayton and his rebounds, he was going up against Nikola Vucevic, and Nikola Vucevic had been a guy who, well, the Chicago Bulls and Nikola Vucevic had been a team and a guy who had limited rebounds, but he still happened to get it done against the Chicago Bulls with 14 rebounds. So we're talking about a streak here of 5 straight games at least with 15, 12, 21, 12, and 14 boards. So he's been rebounding at a very high clip, averaging almost 15 boards per game in his last 5 games. And he's going up against the Houston Rockets team that features the likes of who? Alperen Şengün and Bruno Fernando. It seems like an opportunity, a matchup that DeAndre Ayton can possibly win in. So let's get a bigger sample size here. We know he's 5 for 5, averaging almost 15 rebounds per game in the last 5 games, but let's go back a little bit further. Let's look into this a little bit more and see how DeAndre Ayton has handled 11.5 rebounds. So overall, it's actually a pretty low hit rate. Something has changed, we'll say, in DeAndre Ayton over the last 5 games. A switch has been flipped. For whatever reason, I don't know what fire was lit under this guy's butt, but he has absolutely been getting on the rebounds in his last 5 games after only hitting this in 2 of his previous 14 games. I think he was 2 for 14 if the numbers add up here. But yeah, 5 out of his last 5. So something has turned around here. I don't know if it's easy matchups. I mean, he did have some pretty easy matchups, let's say against the Lakers. That's a pretty plus matchup for any big guy. DeAndre Ayton versus the Pistons. That was a pretty easy matchup for him. We know Utah, they've been pretty soft against opposing bigs. So that looks like a favorable matchup for him. Sacramento, they don't really have a true like 7-footer. You got Domantas Sabonis, who's playing a lot of minutes at center, but he won in that matchup as well, barely clearing the 11.5. And I think he was at 10.5 against Chicago. And we knew that the Chicago Bulls and Nikola Vucevic had done a pretty good job on paper at keeping opposing bigs off of the boards. But still, DeAndre Ayton wins, right? With 14 big rebounds against the Chicago Bulls, despite what looked like a not so favorable matchup. So he's 5 out of his last 5, averaging 14.8 rebounds per game. What about tonight against Houston? Well, Houston, as far as rebounds allowed, they actually ranked 10th in terms of rebounds allowed. So that's 42.2 per game to opposing teams. So as far as total rebounds to opposing teams, they're kind of greedy. They're kind of stingy. Where they do give up a lot of boards is on the offensive glass, but we know that offensive rebounds don't quite hit or happen as frequently or often as defensive rebounds do. So let's move to the defensive rebounds category. They rank second in defensive rebounds. I know you guys are saying it's Houston, but damn, Houston's been kind of stingy, man. They rank number 2 in total defensive rebounds to opposing teams. The other thing that I want to mention, the other factor here, the total's nice at 229.5. It's the spread of 11.5 that really has me concerned here, that this game could turn into a potential blowout. Maybe Ayton doesn't see enough minutes to get all the way there, 12 or more boards. Historically, against the Houston Rockets, if we go back and look at last season, at 11.5 rebounds, my guy is 0 for 3. 0 for his last 3 against the Houston Rockets. He pulled an 11, 9, and 11. If he was at 10.5 today, I think we'd have a little bit of an easier time with this decision. But 0 for his last 3 versus Houston going back to last season. So that was playing against the likes of probably Şengün, and then you had Christian Wood, obviously, for the Houston Rockets at certain points. But yeah, 0 for 3 is not what you want to see. You wanted to see some green there, I think, right? We wanted to see some green. Looking at this matchup here, though, we go to the center position. We'll look at this season, how many rebounds per game they're giving up specifically to centers. All right, let's go look at it. Houston, 14.3 rebounds per game to centers. Now, I want to make this real clear to you guys. When it says 14.3 rebounds allowed to centers, that does not mean 14.3 rebounds allowed to starting centers. That just means all opposing centers on a per game basis, right? So we know DeAndre Ayton, not the only center. In fact, our Poeltl mystery player of the game was, a mystery player of the day was Bismack Biyombo, the backup center for the Phoenix Suns. So it's important to make that distinction that the 14.3 rebounds per game to centers is not just to starting centers. That does not mean we should assume DeAndre Ayton gets all 14.3 of those boards, all right? And if it's going to be a blowout, let's say the Houston Rockets are getting smacked by 20 or something by the end of the third quarter, DeAndre Ayton might find himself sitting on the bench. Which brings me to another thing that we can look at here, right? We can go back to last season. We could look at games in which the Phoenix Suns won by 10 or more points, since this is expected to be a blowout. The spread is currently sitting at 11.5. So let's say games where Phoenix has won by 10 or more, how often has this hit? Games with a 10 or more margin of victory for the Phoenix Suns, DeAndre Ayton is 14 for 36 dating back to last season. So a 39% hit rate at 11.5 rebounds. This season, games in which Phoenix has won by 10 or more, he's hit in 1, 2, 3 out of 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So he's 3 for 9, 33% hit rate this season when Phoenix wins by 10 or more. We could also look at last season, the 2 games in which he played Houston. These 2 games, Phoenix won by 10 or more points. He finished with exactly 11 rebounds in both of those games. So both of these games were blowouts, situations where Phoenix beat Houston by 10 or more. He's 0 for 2 with 11 boards in each game. So they've got a very sharp line, in my opinion, at 11.5 for DeAndre Ayton's rebounds. I think this is a very sharp line, but let's go get you a projection here for DeAndre Ayton's rebounds and see what the projection models have to say. They've got him at 11.4. 11.4 boards. Most of these sports books, these sites online where you could go and bet on props outside of PrizePicks, they have him as minus 132 betting favorite to go under, a minus 140 betting favorite to go under 11.5, minus 124 betting favorite to go under 11.5. So the odds are not necessarily in your favor if you're thinking about taking the over on DeAndre Ayton. Just to summarize, 0 for 3 versus Houston last season, 0 for 2 versus Houston last season in games in which the Phoenix Suns won by 10 or more points. We know that the Houston Rockets, on paper, kind of like the Chicago Bulls. So on paper and real life can be, very different things. But on paper, the Houston Rockets not giving up a lot of rebounds per game to centers at just about 14 per game. But we also have to keep in mind that he's not the only center on the Phoenix Suns. And we saw where they ranked as a team, right? One of the more stingier teams, one of the more greedy teams in the league right now when it comes to allowing total rebounds, ranking 10th, and defensive rebounds, ranking 2nd. So there you go. I've laid it all out for you. I don't think I'm going to take it, but the more you know. What are we thinking, chat? DeAndre Ayton for more or less on these 11.5 rebounds? I'm a little concerned. You guys are asking, is it low? Is it low because of the blowout? Probably. I mean, you've seen what he's done against Houston in the past, so they're probably basing it on the fact that, yes, this game could blow out. And they're also probably looking at the number at 11.5 thinking, not only could it blow out, but this guy just really hasn't had much success against the Houston Rockets in the past, right? 11 boards, 9 boards, 11 boards, and Houston's not giving up a ton of rebounds. So I know you're looking at the 11.5 rebounds and you're like, dang, that's low for a guy who's been smashing at almost 15 boards per game. I'm not saying he can't get it done. I'm just saying that, yeah, the blowout risk is absolutely scary. For sure. Isaac coming through with a super chat. He's giving me the birthday wishes as well. He's asking what we think about Scottie Barnes turnovers. Let's go look at it. Scottie Barnes turnovers. What are they sitting at? 1.5 as well? Let's see. Yes, they are. They're at 1.5. So we talked about PJ Washington's turnovers. He's asking about Scottie Barnes turnovers because, we like to see green, right? When we pop open somebody's game logs, we're a bunch of bettors who like to take the overs, right? So when we look at a game log, last 5, and we see nothing but green bars in there, it gets us a little excited, right? He's hit 3 or more turnovers in 4 out of his last 5 games. All we need out of him is 2. So he's 5 out of his last 5. Let's get into a bigger sample size here for Scottie Barnes. Toronto taking on Brooklyn tonight. For the second time this season, they're facing each other. And, in the offseason, we had some information out there that maybe Kevin Durant was trying to force his way out of Brooklyn. And one of the teams that were the leading contenders to potentially be a destination for Kevin Durant was the Toronto Raptors. They were talking about dangling young Scottie Barnes out there, trading Scottie Barnes to Brooklyn in exchange for Kevin Durant. Now, they would have had to have given up a lot more than just Scottie Barnes, obviously, but he was one of the key components, key pieces to a potential trade for KD. Ultimately, we know that didn't happen. KD stayed. Apparently, he had some riff with Steve Nash. Steve Nash is no longer there, so the players always seem to win in these situations. But taking a look at the hit rate here, guys, we are seeing a guy who is turning over the ball at 2 or more at a very high rate, 78% hit rate here, 14 out of 18. So this is not just a last 5 type of situation. This is a for the season situation, a guy who's been hitting at nearly 80%, turning the ball over 2 or more times. Now, his turnovers are definitely on the rise over his last 5 games. Like I said, turning it over 3 or more in 4 out of those last 5. What about against Brooklyn? Well, historically against the Brooklyn Nets, he's done a good job of hitting this prop, meaning he's turned it over at least twice in 4 out of 5 games against the Brooklyn Nets. That's an 80% hit rate. In 3 out of those 5 games, he's turned it over 3 or more times against the Brooklyn Nets. So 80% against Brooklyn, historically, lifetime. And then we take a look at this current season. He's hitting at almost an 80% hit rate as well. 14 out of 18, 78% hit rate, 2.3 turnovers per game. Take a look at this Brooklyn defense, 12th when it comes to turnovers allowed, giving up over 14.3. Okay, so they're giving up more turnovers per game to opposing teams than the Washington Wizards were. So we saw the Wizards, they were ranked pretty low and they were red. So the higher the turnover ranking is, the better. That's what we're getting at. All right. So this looks like a pretty decent matchup here, being that it's yellow, kind of middle of the road, average team when it comes to forcing turnovers. All right, going further here, taking it a step further, Scottie Barnes spends a lot of his time at the small forward, power forward positions. Let's go take a look at the Brooklyn Nets and how many turnovers they've been giving up or producing against each position. So against Brooklyn, when you play against Brooklyn and you are a small forward, you are giving up about 2.1 turnovers per game. 2.1 turnovers per game to small forwards. What about power forwards? Power forwards against the Brooklyn Nets. They're giving up about 2.2, 2.3 turnovers per game to power forwards, which I think either one of those is an accurate description for Scottie Barnes. So just brief recap, 4 for 5 all time against Brooklyn, 80% hit rate. He's at a 78% hit rate this season, pretty large sample size, nearly 20 games, and he's hitting at almost an 80% hit rate. So I think it looks like a good pick. I mean, just based on hit rates alone, it has been hitting more than not. So good looks. Hopefully that helps answer your question, Isaac. I appreciate the birthday wishes and the super chat once again. D'Angelo coming through. He says, happy birthday, CJ. He is going to use his 2-pick. He won a free 2-pick, by the way, to score $100. He's going to use his 2-pick for Steven Adams' first half points. Is that what I'm reading here? Is that what I'm picking up from you? Let's go look at that one. Steven Adams' first half points. Where is the big man for the Memphis Grizz? He's at 3.5. Ooh, 3.5, meaning my guy's got to make like 2 buckets, right? Here's what'll probably happen. He'll probably make 1 bucket. He'll probably get to the free throw line at one point, go 1 for 2 from the free throw line, right? That'll be his first quarter. And then the second quarter will roll around and you'll be sweating till the last couple of minutes for that last bucket. That's usually how it seems to play out. Steven Adams, though, if he finds 2 early buckets, I mean, this could be a very good pick. Averaging 8.4 points per game in his last 5 games here. So things are looking pretty sweet here for Steven Adams. But yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if some shenanigans like that happen, right? He gets an early bucket and then he gets to the free throw line, goes like 1 for 2. And then that freaking hook, that 0.5, man, that hook is such a pesky little thing. It'll probably be one of those ones where you end up sweating it over in the second quarter, waiting for him to get it done. But let's look at Steven Adams' first half points on a larger scale here. So we'll go Steven Adams' first half points logs this season. We'll look at this a number of different ways. So he needs 4, right? At least 4 points. There's games where he scored 0 first half points. There's games where he scored 1, 3, 2. But let's add them up here. Let's count them up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 hits. 12 hits. Now, it does look like he's starting to do more here in the last handful of games. So let's take it a step further. Steven Adams' first half points logs this season without Desmond Bane. Maybe Desmond Bane is the secret ingredient here to why Adams has been hitting this at a higher rate. Well, he definitely seems to be hitting more often than not without Desmond Bane in the lineup. He does still have some zeros in there, though. But outside of that, we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 out of 7, 8, 9. 6 out of 9 games without Desmond Bane, he's hit that. That's not terrible. 67%, 66.6 repeating. Just call it 67% of the games that he's played, he's hit the over. Well, what about when he takes on Joel Embiid, who will be across from him tonight? That'll be his matchup tonight. Steven Adams' first half points logs versus Joel Embiid and career or lifetime against Joel Embiid. He's played him 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 times. Only 7 times, really. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yeah. Only 7 times has he met Joel Embiid, but he's covered in 1, 2, 3, 4 out of 7. 4 out of 7. So more often than not, he is going over than under. But he has yet to face Joel Embiid since joining the Memphis Grizzlies. So should be a pretty interesting situation here. We're going back to his OKC days. That's where a bulk of his games, bulk of these matchups came. Was back when he was with the Thunder, going up against Embiid. So yeah, we haven't seen a ton of Steven Adams in recent years. The last time they faced one another was 2021. Haven't seen any Steven Adams versus Embiid in quite some time, but we could take this one step further here. We go to the center spot. We'll take a look at the Philadelphia 76ers and see how many points per game they're giving up to opposing centers. They give up right around 22 points per game, which puts them like smack dab right in the middle of the pack, right? So they're not at the top, giving up the most. They're not at the bottom, giving up the fewest. They're like right in the middle at about 22 points per game to centers. Now, if we slice that 22 in half, that's about 11 points per half to centers. About 11 points per half to centers. Again, Steven Adams, not the only center on the team. But basically, if they're giving up about 11 on average per half to centers, do we think Steven Adams can find 4 out of those 11 points given up per half in the first half? That's what you have to ask yourself. But yeah, Kips makes a great point. Foul trouble can absolutely be an issue. Taking a look here, lifetime. Against Joel Embiid, he had 2 first half personal fouls, 3 first half personal fouls, and then most recently he had 2 first half personal fouls, which led to him only playing 11 minutes, which led to him only having 2 points. So he's going to have to absolutely stay out of foul trouble. He's going to have to play clean first half against Joel Embiid. So there is some concern there that Steven Adams might get into a little foul trouble. So there's Steven Adams' points. I mean, you could also look at some of the other first half props if you're liking Steven Adams. Maybe you go first half PRA, a lifetime against Joel Embiid. When it comes to first half PRA, he's hit this in 1, 2, 3, 4 out of 7. You could also look at the first half FanDuel or fantasy points. So you go FanDuel points. He needs at least 13.6. He's hit the over in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. All right, that's a little better hit rate. 5 out of 7 lifetime against Joel Embiid at 13.5 first half fantasy score. So maybe that's the way to go over the points. Maybe he doesn't get 2 buckets, but he finds some rebounds, a block, a steal. Let's go without Desmond Bane this season. See how many times he's hit this 13.5 fantasy score without Bane. Ooh, 1, 2, 3, 4 out of his last 5 without Bane. He's only hit it 4 times this season without Bane. So he's hit the points at a higher clip without Bane than he has his fantasy score. So Joe 2, this is a first half only number. A first half only number. So if you're seeing 7.5 for Steven Adams, you might be looking at his full game points. You might be looking at the full game points. That's the difference. So this is first half only. All right. So yeah, I guess for right now, we'll mark this as an over. I don't mind it if you want to take the over. But there is some question marks here. You know, biggest one being, can Steven Adams stay out of foul trouble? But he's been hitting at a pretty high rate without Desmond Bane in there. So I don't hate that. All right. There you go, Mr. Sinning. Jesse coming through with another super chat. My guy, appreciate you. Jayson Tatum's rebounds and assists. What are we thinking about Jayson Tatum's rebounds and assists? Let's go look at them. Appreciate all the love, guys. Appreciate all the birthday wishes. We got Jayson Tatum, rebounds and assists. Where's he sitting at today? 11.5, going up against the Miami Heat. Now, we talked about the Heat, right? The Heat are going to be a lot healthier tonight. It looks like Jimmy Butler's going to play. Let's refresh. Let's get all the latest and greatest. We got Jimmy Butler expected to play. Tyler Herro expected to play. Duncan Robinson, Max Strus, Gabe Vincent, all expected to play. They're all green, meaning closer to probably being probable than doubtful, right? So it's going to be a harder matchup for Jayson Tatum against Miami. But super talented young guy. I don't think Bam and Jimmy and all those guys are going to deter him in any type of way, but we could definitely, and we will absolutely look at all that. Let's go to the power forward spot real quick and just look at Jayson Tatum's matchup against this Miami Heat squad. Miami, these numbers are going to be kind of skewed, right? Because Miami's been dealing with a ton of injuries, a lot of guys sitting out, but they're giving up over 21 points per game and over 10.5 rebounds per game to power forwards, which is where Jayson Tatum spends some of his time. Now, Grant Williams has been playing power forward. Tatum's been sliding to the small forward spot. You've seen Jaylen Brown move to shooting guard, and then you got Marcus Smart obviously manning the point guard position. So let's also look at the small forward spot. So about 21 to 22 points and about 4 assists. So that's like 26 roughly. About 26 roughly. Let's go to small forward too. Let's look at those. Miami giving up about 23 points to small forwards and about 5 assists as well. So that's about 28. 28 points and assists. You've got 8.6 rebounds. So we're thinking about taking rebounds and assists. He's at 8.6. Let's call it 9 rebounds just to make it clean, and about 5 assists. We'll say that's about 14, right? About 14. So let's go back historically and take a look at how Jayson Tatum has done throughout last season, games played this season. There should be a ton of game logs here for Jayson Tatum versus this Miami Heat squad, right? Should be plenty of games. So let's go look at it. Let's go versus Miami, taking a look at last season. Boom. Yeah, we got 7 out of 12 hit rate. So he's played Miami already twice this season, faced him 10 times last season at 11.5 rebounds and assists. He's hit this in 7 out of 12, a 58% hit rate, 13.2 rebounds and assists on average. 1 for 2 this season, 7 for 12 over the last 12 games. 13.2 is the average. You look at the Miami defense, 17th in rebounds allowed to opposing teams, 21st in total assists allowed to opposing teams, and then they rank 12th in power forward defense. Pretty nice total here of 227. We could also take a look at the splits. So at home versus the Heat, 4 for 6, 67%. Not bad, 13 per game. Away versus the Heat, 3 for 6, just 50%, 13.3 per game. So they will be playing in Boston tonight, where he's hit at a higher rate than he has in previous games on the road versus Miami. And then we'll also take a look at the home splits this season, where he's 6 for 11, 55%, and the splits away, where he's 6 for 10, 60%. So I mean, it's not looking terrible for a guy who's been hitting this at a really high rate in his last like 10 games. You see the last 10, he's 8 for 10, 80%. And he's hit more often than not against Miami in their last 12 games. Just played Miami in their last one, right? 14 in that one. So, I mean, I could see him possibly getting it done. Let's get you a projection, though. Let's see what the projection models say and see if we got some action out on the sports books that can kind of help us out here. All right, he's projected for 12.2 rebounds and assists, and right now we're seeing some pretty favorable juice. Minus 125 over, minus 132 over, minus 130 over. So most of the money's coming in on the over here. Projected to go over. He's gone over in 8 out of his last 10. Good money coming in on the over. Projected. I mean, everything's looking, pretty good for a more play here for Jayson Tatum. So I think you have to lean that route. Anthony coming through with another super chat. He says Sexton's assist was bumped down from 5.5 to 5. I feel like I heard that already. Or did you send that before and maybe I forgot about it? That's right, I did forget about it. My bad, bro. My bad. We talked about Ayton's rebounds, but we didn't talk about Sexton's assists. Let's go look at those assists real quick for you. My fault, B. All of a sudden, I'm from New York. Let's take a look at it. So he's at 5 assists. Colin Sexton hitting the 5 or better. 12, 7, 5, 6, and 6 in his last 5 games, averaging 7.2 assists per game. Another way that you could play Collin Sexton that's been working out more often than not, did not work out in the last game, but more often than not, it's been working out without Michael Conley Jr. in the lineup, is Collin Sexton's first half PRA. But you could also look at Collin Sexton's first half points, because I think that has hit in every game, I want to say. His points versus the PRA. So if you're looking for like another first half pick, Collin Sexton, first half points or first half PRA. But I think the points hit in the last game, but the PRA didn't. Keep that one on your radar as well. Especially if Tyrese Halliburton's out, you got an easier matchup here for Collin Sexton. But yeah, at 5 assists, we could take a look at this real quick on props.cash. We'll go to the assist category. We'll switch up the games from Miami and Boston to Indiana and Utah. We'll go find our boy, Collin Sexton. We'll click on this season. He's played 24 games. But the key here is to take Mike Conley out. When we take Mike Conley out, looking at the last 10, let's go last 5. When we take Mike Conley out, we look at the last 5. You see he's hit the over in 5 out of 5, right? So PrizePicks, they got that bar as gray, which is, you know, what I got here too. 12, 7, 5, 6, and 6. One other thing that you could do is you could take a look at the potential assists for a player using NBA.com. So we'll click advanced filters. We'll change this from all teams to just the Utah Jazz. We'll change this from all segments to just the last 5 games. We'll click get stats. And when we do that, we'll look at the potential assist columns. And there's 2 guys who are leading the way for Utah when it comes to potential assists. Now, potential assists are basically opportunities for a player to record an assist. So you got Collin Sexton at 10.2. You got Jordan Clarkson sitting at 10.2 as well. Now, in that 5-game stretch without Mike Conley Jr., not only is Collin Sexton leading the team in potential assists, but he's leading them in actual assists at 7.2 per game, right? Top of the charts here. And then another situation that I like to look at is the passes made. Who's leading the team in passes made? Now, surprisingly, it's not Collin Sexton. It is their center, Kelly Olynyk, leading the team in passes made. And that's a result of how they run their offense. Their bigs making a lot of playmaking decisions in that offensive scheme. But Collin Sexton sitting there real high at 45.8, second on the team when it comes to passes made in the last 5 games without Mike Conley Jr. So things looking pretty good here for Collin Sexton. So basically on the 10.2 potential assists per game that he's been averaging without Michael Conley Jr., he's going to need to go at least 50% on those, have a 50% conversion rate on those 10 potential assists just to hit the 5. He would need to have like a 60% conversion rate to go over 5 and get that 6th assist. So we don't play for ties. We don't play for pushes. We hope in this situation that Collin Sexton can go for 6, right? But 5 or better has hit in 5 straight games. 5 or better in 5 straight. 6 or more in 4 out of those 5 games. So taking a look here. Collin Sexton's your point guard. I'd call Jordan Clarkson your shooting guard. Going up against the Indiana Pacers tonight. Are the Pacers giving up a healthy amount of assists to point guards or nah? In this case, or nah, right? They're giving up about 7.5 per game, the 4th fewest, 4th lowest. So Collin Sexton, not in the greatest spot going up against Indiana, but again, if Tyrese Halliburton's out, maybe they give up a few more assists or a couple more assists to point guards. We could also take a look at the last 7 games here, right? Go to that, see if Indiana's trending up or down. Well, they've given up more assists in the last 7 games than they have for the season. We've seen that number now go up to 8.7 assists, so that looks a little bit better. So they're trending up as far as assists allowed to point guards. Collin Sexton has a high hit rate in the last 5 games. This could be a perfect little match made in heaven here for Collin to find at least 5 or more dimes. So let's get you a projection here. Taking a look using the action projection tools. I've got Collin Sexton projected for exactly 5 assists, which really doesn't give us any type of edge or hope that he'll get at least 6. The projections say 5. He's at 5.5 on all the books. They are bumping this to 5 on PrizePicks because of all the strong juice coming in on the under for Colin Sexton tonight. Minus 145, minus 156, minus 150. So all of the juice, all of the action coming in on the under at 5.5, which is why we're getting it at 5 on PrizePicks. So I think there's a good shot that he goes for at least 5, but you're going to probably face some resistance at that 6 number. Wouldn't be surprised if this ends up tying or pushing, but I think for me, I'd have to lean toward the over on that 5 number. So you're welcome, Anthony. Appreciate that. Guys, it's 1:33. Listen, we could sit here, we could talk all day about props, but I'm spent, man. I'm spent. We've covered a lot today. Hopefully this information helps you out. Hopefully some of these picks end up working out for you. Again, this is more of like a first look. This is not the end-all be-all. So spend a little extra time, few extra minutes looking into some things. You know, if you're not liking anything, you disagree with anything that I've said, please do not take it. It's your money. Be responsible with it. But we do have a risk-free $20 flex play waiting for us over on PrizePicks today. Make sure you take advantage of that for Flex Friday. I'll be giving out a free entry on Monday when I come back on the air here. And yeah, if you wanted that free entry, make sure you're a subscriber. Make sure you've liked today's video and leave a comment once the replay of this video goes up. Leave a comment with your favorite pick of the day, and I'll pick another winner on our next show. Guys, I appreciate it. Thank you for all the birthday wishes. Thank you for all the support. Join Patreon, $20 a month. Get access to a full Discord community of like-minded people. We're betting props every day. We're playing PrizePicks. We're sharing our information, sharing our slips, all right? And help support the show, all right? We'll see you on the next one, guys. Peace.